Toyota's getting into the side-by-side game with this brand new Scion 01 concept. So this is debuting here right now at the SEMA show, guys, and it is a concept, but a lot of the rumblings going around right now here at the Toyota booth, this may actually come into production. Hopefully. Would you buy it? Let me know. Why wouldn't Toyota get into the side-by-side game? Honda is in it. They make cars, right? Polaris has been crushing it. Can-Am too. But Toyota is taking a different approach, and we're going to start with the back with what's powering this. Pretty much the same exact powertrain as a 4Runner hybrid, the new Land Cruiser, and also the Tacoma. They took every bit of that and threw it into a side-by-side. So then what you have is a 2.4 liter turbocharged 4-cylinder mated to an automatic 8-speed transmission, and this is hybrid, putting out about 300 horsepower. The torque numbers they said is relatively close to the Tacoma hybrids. That is 465 foot-pounds of torque. That's absolutely crazy. The gear ratio on this is actually lower as well than that of the Tacoma. So you're gonna get that torque very, very quickly on this. And it is a hybrid as well. So you can get decent gas mileage out in the dunes with it, or if you're putting around town, because 27 states, UTVs are street legal. So that is something that Toyota is hopefully gonna capitalize on if they bring this to the market, is people making them street legal. You get to enjoy the trails with them as well, and also around town. And it does look huge here at SEMA. I do get that because it is on 35 by 10.5 inch tires, but the width of this is 74 inches, which is pretty much the same as the competition like the Polaris Racer, and maybe not so much the Can-Am Maverick right now, but this will definitely compete with them, and being 74 inches wide is actually pretty nice for a good majority of the trails. Now as we come up to the front, this concept, it has a Warn winch up front. We also have two rigid industry fog lights. This bar right here is actually a full LED bar that goes all the way around. We also have a full rigid light bar up top too, and we also have some massive suspension, up to 26 inches of travel in both the front and the rear, and that is what they told us, legit travel. It's not with tire squoosh or anything like that with these 35s. That is legit the in-house suspension that Toyota has not branded or anything yet, but they have developed it right here for the Scion 01 concept. So that's 26 inches of travel in the front and also back here in the rear. And let's take a look at those trailing arms. Absolutely beefy. It would be cool too if, you know, they bring this to the market with some kind of beadlock wheels, but these are a 17-inch wheel. Back behind them, you actually have the brakes of a GR Yaris, and the hubs that they're attached to, they said, is from a Toyota Highlander. They're trying to use a lot of off-the-shelf parts for this vehicle to not only test them, but also, you know, prove Toyota's reliability with this, because if you know anything about UTVs, they have issues with belts slipping with them. But if you have a lot of good Toyota reliable parts with the vehicle, it's going to be nice. And I like the fact that a lot of this stuff is just off the shelf. Now, before we go on into the inside, I just want to walk around it real quick just to see what you guys think. So they kind of have this mesh grill going on up front, at lower control arms and stuff down here too. Big, very beefy axles. You have a full underbody skid plate on this too, it looks like. And then this is more of a kind of camo setup that they have going on. But if you look at it, there's no Scion badging really, except for the side right here. There's no Toyota badges on it either, but you can tell, especially when we go on into the inside, that a lot of this is Toyota. Like, look at the roll cage. So this is a score regulated roll cage. So they could take this straight out and do off-road races with it because it is a good regulated roll cage. But if we look at like the Molly panels on the back right here, you know, you've kind of seen them in the Tacoma Trail Hunter, or the top of that roof rack. It kind of looks like what you would see on a modern 4Runner. So Toyota does have their flair with this, even though that it's not really, you know, a Toyota branded vehicle, but you can see it if you look very closely. Coming over to the back, we do have a nice rear recovery hook right there. You also have nice skid plate as well. This one does have a MagnaFlow exhaust. You have Molly panels right there and the spare tire up top. And you're probably thinking, well, oh, what the heck, dude? There's no real space to put luggage. Well, there's not, because like I said, this is a hybrid. So the hybrid batteries that would sit under the rear section of a Toyota Tacoma, the seat, they actually put that right back here. And then it looks like you have some storage right there, a nice size spare. And I kind of got to asking him, I was like, well, you have the 2.4 liter in the back, you got the battery on the back, you got the spare tire on the back. Isn't that a lot of weight in the back, and they actually said, I believe they're at a 56-44 weight distribution, and they said for off-road use, that's kind of what you're looking for. You're looking for a little bit more weight in the back to keep that front end up while you're going over the whoops. And of course the springs in the back too are a lot stiffer than that of the front. So this thing looks absolutely menacing, guys. It's very freaking cool. I love side-by-sides. By growing up in California area, going out to the desert, I actually really want a new side-by-side as well as we start to move to Arizona and do more desert stuff. And then Toyota drops this. I'm like, well, this is freaking on brand, so please come out with it. Let's go ahead and go into the inside now. So if you're familiar with Toyota products, especially the modern ones, this interior is going to make a lot of sense to you. So as we climb on in, these are some Sparco seats with carbon fiber. This thing is a 4-seater, but if you're familiar with the Tacoma TRD Pros, the Tundra TRD Pros, the whole TRD Pro lineup, you know that they have technical camo inside the seats. So these Sparco seats actually have that same kind of pattern that the TRD Pros have. Now it has a red seat, which is pretty cool. 3 black seats in this one, right there and right there. Good amount of space too for the rear occupants. Nice solid roof as well. Now you'll see here too, they put kind of some Toyota Heritage stripes in it, so that yellow and kind of orange with the red seat. It looks really sick with the black over here. You have an oh shit handle right there. You got a nice helmet. You got 4 USB-Cs over there. You have an inverter in this as well. You also have a 12-volt DC right there. You have a tiny screen right here. You also have another MID screen. Nice electronic powered steering wheel, also kind of stitched and wrapped as well in some heritage colors. But then as we come down here to the center console, this is where a lot more Toyota products, just again, off the shelf, start to come into place. So we have the shift knob from the new 4th gen Tacoma and new 4Runner. We also have this dial right down here to shift it into 4 low, 4 high, or 2 high if you want. You have MIT, that's the intelligent manual transmission. So if you put this vehicle into manual mode, because it is an 8-speed auto, but if you put it into manual mode and you physically shift it yourself, it'll rev match the engine, which is actually pretty cool. And then below that you have your drive mode. Now I asked them if there was going to be any sport mode or anything else with this, and they said that they are taking this concept in the next couple of weeks and they're actually going to put it to the test. So they're going to be adding stuff to this vehicle, really putting it through the trials, which just leads me to think that they're actually potentially going to bring this to market, because to build this concept, which you don't typically do, they actually compared it and benchmarked it to a Polaris RZR, to the Can-Am Maverick, which is just something you don't really do with a concept. So I have high hopes, and it may hurt my wallet, but I have high hopes that this may actually be a thing. But when they test it, they're going to be doing more stuff to that drive mode thing. I asked them, are you guys going to do crawl control or multi-terrain select with this? They said they are kind of thinking about it, but it does have a solid rear axle, so that rear axle is always locked. And then the front, they actually have a front locker on this too. So you may not really need the crawl control with this or the multi-terrain select. Plus also there's that 4 low, which also reduces the gears down as well. So it's gonna be insane. So going down the center console, we have a whole bunch of switches right here. We have the center lock, I believe. We also have this one, I'm not sure what that is, but then we also have the front locking diff, unlock the front diff. Again, the rear diff is always locked. We have our light bar right here. We also have our intercom as well for the headset, which is pretty sweet. And then down below that, you can't really see it because the shifter's in the way, but we also have helmet air. So you could set up air, so if you're going through the desert and there's a whole bunch of, you know, dust blowing around, you could get fresh air into here, because this does technically have air conditioning, because it has the system for the hybrid batteries to keep them nice and cool. And also right here, we now have our MID, so you could tell what gear you're in, your miles per hour, and also your tachometer, the boost speed over there, and how much fuel you have left. And then another off-the-shelf part, you know, you have your power switch right there, which is the same kind of push-button start as other Toyotas. And then you do have your lights right down here. And then it looks like we just have normal gas and brake, and of course an adjustable steering wheel. Also in the back, you have 2 more oh shit handles as well for the rear occupants. And then you can see the transmission tunnel right here too. And then here's a look too at your LED bars while they're out up front. And then it also has a nice LED bar right here out back. So let me know, would you guys purchase this if it actually came to reality? I know I would. It's freaking awesome. Let me know down in the comments. I appreciate you all watching, and I will catch you in the next one. All right, see you later.